Top stories for today consist of an individual smashing their controller over a Smash tournament instead of the competition. Also, we're detailing and discussing Sony suing somebody who jailbroke a PS4 and sold the jailbroken console to Sony themselves, and also Microsoft's new game streaming technology that allow you to play Xbox One games on your cell phone. All in today's News You Missed, the video game news show that recaps what happened this week in the video game industry at large that might be important to it, but most importantly, to you, ladies and gentlemen. Before we jump into that news, I want to put a quick plug here for my patron. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the prizes arrived as an individual who won one of my contests over at Patreon for supporting me. They won a Game Boy Color. They requested that I ship it to myself and sign it and then ship it to them. So this bad boy is a prize that's going to someone, and all because they donated $5 to $10 to support me on Patreon each month. There's been numerous winners over there on Patreon, and you can talk to a lot of those kind people over there and see some of the comments and the pictures that they posted of the things that they've won. Now, we're going to jump right into the news, and I want to jump right in, starting off with a fan rebuilding Metal Gear Solid's Shadow Moses in LEGO Worlds of all things. So this individual is named Craig Kelly, and there is a literal video. At first, I thought it was just going to be like the intro scene or something small, but no, I looked and it's like a 20-minute video, and it goes all the way past the tower section of the game, and he rebuilt all of it. It's pretty good attention to detail, and I strongly suggest that you check out the video. I'll leave a link to his YouTube channel in the section below, and you can go ahead and look into that. Now, we're continuing on with video game mods that kind of should or shouldn't happen, whether you agree with this or not. Bowsette is now a final boss in Mario Brothers. Bowsette. You heard it right, ladies and gentlemen, and they seem to have added jiggle physics to the boobs. Every day we stray further from God, and I don't know if we're ever gonna return to his light. Joking aside, this is a pretty interesting mod, and I definitely would like to see Bowsette becoming a real thing in the future, but I'd like to see what Nintendo's official art rendition of that would be, outside of just an art book for Super Mario Odyssey. A real full-fledged Bowsette character in a game would be really, really nice. Nonetheless, you can now fight Bowsette in a final boss battle, so there you go. You can nerd out with a 20-minute video of the supercomputer behind the Nintendo 64. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys didn't know, Silicon Graphics is a big contributor to the 64 age when the good old console wars were fought between Sony and Nintendo, and there's a supercomputer behind that. I remember watching a documentary and reading articles about how people would have to queue up for this computer and get their graphical renders done, and they would have to line up behind each other because it would take hours because of just the era and the age. What we can do now within seconds on our computers would take hours, maybe even days, for these computers to do way back in the day, and these were considered supercomputers of the time. So if you guys were interested in how the N64 came about to be and how its graphics worked, you can check this video out. It's a pretty interesting look at the computer system, but I've already seen multiple videos about it, just dropping a link to this YouTuber because, once again, knowledge is power. Know your roots, ladies and gentlemen. If you love the N64, you might want to know about this stuff. Mario Party has released, and it's getting pretty good ratings. A lot of people are saying Mario Party brings the franchise back to greatness. I'm a bit on the skeptical side. I'm not saying it's a bad game whatsoever, because it's not. It's a very, very fun and good game, especially for children. I mean, if I was 10 years old and I was playing Mario Party on the Switch, I'd be pretty happy. It's a pretty fun game. But there is one thing you must consider. This game was developed with the Joy-Cons in mind. So if you don't like motion controls, you're not gonna like a lot of these minigames. So if you don't like the Joy-Cons and you don't like motion controls, you might want to skip this one. So on to one of the biggest stories. We have a Smash champion takes out his loss on a poor controller. So the long and the short of this is that this guy, he's pretty big in the Smash scene. His name is Leffen. He smashed his controller after a loss. It doesn't matter how he lost. It could have been a crushing defeat. It could have been by the skin of his teeth that he lost. But at the end of the day, I still think it's extremely pathetic when you have to smash a controller in front of a massive crowd. Imagine you're so good at a video game that you have a massive audience watching you, not only in person, but on Twitch and on YouTube. People know you by name in the community that you're involved in, and you are pretty big deal. You might even have sponsorships. And after you lose, you smash a controller like a child. Like a kid. I have zero respect for people who are going to smash controllers down and then jump on Twitter afterwards and say, "Fuck that controller," and say, "Oh, I don't know if it was the controller or not. I might be a little bit rusty at the game. I'm not really good at Smash anymore, so I can't take on anyone." But I'll tell you, if I lost, man, I wouldn't sit here and blame a controller for my failures. When I'm bad at games, I'm bad at games. Sometimes the games have not so great controls, but at the end of the day, I just need to practice and get good, and I acknowledge that every time. After the initial rage, Leffen did state that he was going to try and become a better competitor, and went back on how he initially was quite angry over the controller and the loss. So yeah, he's accepted what has happened, but still, throwing a controller's pretty crazy. Moving right along, we have Skybound Games finishing Telltale's Walking Dead. So yeah, you guys remember how Telltale was closing doors. They're so broke they might not even be able to pay the janitors. I made that joke. Yeah, a lot of people were saying the CEO was pushing brooms these days. Okay, alright, I'm sorry. Enough with the jokes. Anyway, Skybound is a gaming division of Skybound Entertainment, the publisher behind the Walking Dead comic series, so it's a pretty logical fit that they would be finishing this. Hopefully they'll be doing a better job managing money and actually be able to pay their employees. If they have to let them go, they'll be able to pay them severance. Hey, please learn from the previous company's mistakes. And oh, by the way, if you wouldn't mind, could you finish The Wolf Among Us 2? I'd really love to play that game. We also have Borderlands 2 VR coming to PlayStation 4 in December. Borderlands has been milked out pretty hardcore. I think almost everybody is dying to play Borderlands 3. But no, we got a pre-sequel, and then we got a collection, and now we get VR. I can't wait for Borderlands, the original game, VR, and the pre-sequel VR, because if we're getting Borderlands 2 VR, you could be rest assured we're going to get those. Nonetheless, I'm pretty excited for this because it's a pretty logical match. It's a first-person shooter, it's a pretty good game, and in VR, it'll probably be pretty fun as well. But yeah, I guess we're not getting Borderlands 3, we're getting Borderlands 2 VR. Now on to the final story, the big story. Ladies and gentlemen, Sony sues a hacker for selling a jailbroken PS4. Or jailbroken PS4s, more than one, so he might have sold a lot. So on October 5th, it's been reported by Torrent Freak that a certain individual named Eric David Scales, whom the copyright claim goes by Black Cloak 13 on eBay. This is for copyright infringement. Long and the short of this is that there was an eBay listing for a new jailbroken modded PS4 plus 63 games. Yeah. These games include very, very new pricey games that you can buy for $60 right now, such as God of War, and less sought after games like Hell, Divers, and Everybody's Golf. But these are games that are currently being sold in stores, so it's a pretty big deal. And what ended up happening is that Sony knows that this was a modded console that included those games because they bought the console. And the individual put a return address that is registered for Eric David Scales. Might be a fake return address, might not be the proper guy, but that's where the return address went to. Definitely going to be an issue and a problem with his eBay account. If he's able to avoid this lawsuit, maybe he'll be able to keep doing this. The website that they figured out and uncovered basically advocates for piracy and tries to get people to stop buying games. Yeah, this guy's gonna essentially get sued into the ground by Sony for selling their pirated console. There you go. Sony's been pretty known for suing people for jailbreaking their PlayStation consoles, and this is just another example. Microsoft has come out and revealed that they're going to be able to stream Xbox One games to people's cell phones. Now, how they're going to accomplish this is by using 4G and 5G cellular networks using Microsoft Azure. It's a company's cloud computing service as part of stabilization process. This is Project xCloud, and it will be entering in public beta in 2019. And likely, there's going to be no question that most of the time, this is going to be able to be accessed from people at home when their main system and their main TV's been taken up by the family, rather as opposed to being used in public. Because I guarantee you, streaming Xbox One games with a lot of data is going to leave a lot of people capped, and then their cellular carriers aren't going to be able to deliver the speeds that they would need to stream with a fluent experience to their phones, which is why I think a lot of people are going to just use this service at home. Nonetheless, it's still an excellent idea, and I think it's really, really great that Xbox One is putting this in there. Also, in other news regarding Xbox One and Microsoft, the Metal Gear Solid HD collection is now backwards compatible. The 360 version that included Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, it's backwards compatible. It's really, really nice, and I'm very thankful to Xbox for showing some love to the Metal Gear series. Now, folks, that'll end this episode of The News You Missed. I hope you guys enjoyed these stories, but if you're wondering why I have a turkey on my head, this is, again, my continued dedication to dress up for Halloween. It's October, it's the month of Halloween. I guess this is the only time I can wear costumes without looking too strange. Remember, Thanksgiving's coming up, so don't forget to buy your turkey. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a big like. If you disliked the video, you leave me a dislike, and you can click subscribe today, because once again, you can get your news from an actual gamer, and not some biased journalist who went to college for several years and doesn't even care about video games. I've been your host, Protomario, and I'm signing out. As always, good gaming, God bless, and thanks for watching. I hope to see you back here next time.